What would it be like to be able to speak 20 or even 30 languages? When you become crazy. Hey everyone, this is Jan van A of Language Boost, and let's talk a little bit about how it feels like to be a hyperpolyglot. Well, I do speak a few languages myself, but I don't speak 20 or 30 languages. There are actually people, not so many, but there are quite a few people in the world who speak actually 20 or 30, maybe even 40 languages. And one of them is Richard Simcott. And for those who don't know who Richard Simcott is, Richard is one of the most multilingual personalities on earth. Richard regularly uses 20, maybe even 30 languages in private life, but also for his work. And I think he has studied at 20 other languages. Languages he has only studied, not spoken so much. These are more or less the numbers. Richard is also the organizer of the Polyglot Conference that takes place every year. So Richard was here a few days ago, and let's just share with you our experience of being able to speak all these languages all day long. So as soon as Richard got here, when he saw me, his native language is English, but as soon as he saw me, paf, Dutch, and we spoke Dutch for a few hours. Then we wanted to go to a restaurant, and he said, I want to have Vlaamse friet en patat, like those French fries basically, but then Belgium style. So we went to restaurants and we walked to the street in the middle of Brussels, and there were like restaurants, all kind of different foods. There was Italian, there was Greek, and then as soon as we approached or passed by this Greek restaurant, there was this guy, this owner standing outside, and he said, hey, you want to eat something? And Richard immediately started speaking Greek to this guy. A bit later we went to a restaurant, well, it was in Brussels, so we just spoke French there. And in the evening we went to like a street with lots of Turkish bars, and well, we went into a cafe, and we immediately noticed that the waiter was Romanian speaking, so he spoke Romanian with the waiter. Then there were a few guys drinking beers behind us who were speaking Bulgarian. Richard could understand some of the conversation, and then all of a sudden this old lady came in, and she was basically selling these napkins for €1 or something, and she was speaking in Turkish, and Richard spoke in Turkish with him. Then later that evening, Felix Wang, who you might also know from YouTube here, joined us, and we went to a Turkish restaurant where they spoke Turkish all the time, and then they switched from Turkish to Serbian. I think they spoke some. Well, I was speaking Chinese with his parents all the time, so it was a pretty crazy multilingual day. And by the end of the evening, my brain was almost exploding. Now, why am I sharing this story with you here? It's not to show off or something. Actually, I felt quite unexperienced compared to Felix and Richard. But just imagine yourself how cool it would be to be able to go to the other side of the world, get out of the airplane and speak the local language. I mean, you're going to see things from a different perspective. Chinese is one of the languages I have more experience in. Russian is one of the languages that I studied later. But now, when I'm like watching these speeches in Russian, I feel much more connected to, and I almost feel that I almost start feeling that I can see things from a Russian perspective. Now, I don't think I have spent that much time in Russia with Russian people to really get a Russian viewpoint on things, but I can already start feeling what it is like to be Russian. Now with Chinese, it's much easier for me. When I meet Chinese people here in Europe or anywhere in the world, I really understand what they have gone through basically in life, like what it is like to grow up in China. I'm European, and I lived in China for a few years. Of course, I don't have the same experience as they have, but when I meet Chinese people, I can feel, I can see what they want. I don't know, it's difficult to explain here in a YouTube video. But I just think that being able to speak all these languages really helps you to see things from a wider perspective. So instead of seeing things from a perspective just as anyone else from this town called Helmond in the south of the Netherlands. I'm now able to actually step back, see things from a wide, see the big picture basically, and maybe also make better decisions based on the big picture that you are able to see. And I really think that learning languages helps. So does that mean that you have to learn 20 or 30 languages? No, not at all. Actually, it's pretty crazy to be able to speak 20 or 30 languages. For most people, just learning one or maybe even a second foreign language is enough. But just to show you an extreme example here, now you might think, okay, this guy is speaking 20 or 30 languages, or even you, Jan, speaking 10, or in various degrees. That's pretty crazy as well, right? You guys must be gifted for languages. I talked about this in another video. I think it's more, you don't have to be a genius to learn 1 or 2 or even to learn 20 languages, but it's just a very strong passion. It's a very strong interest. So the other, I did an interview with Richard a while ago, and someone asked him, it was like a live interview, and someone asked him, Richard, are you a genius? You're able to speak so many languages. And he said that some people are very good, some people are very interested about football or soccer for you Americans, and they can remember all the matches that took place, who scored the goals, they can remember all the details of the match. And for him, well, he has the same strong interest for languages, and he remembers all the words in Albanian, and instead of the results of all those football matches. So what's more useful? What would you rather know? Well, it really depends on your life. It really depends on your interest. It really depends on your ambition, basically. So the conclusion of this video: no, you really don't have to learn 10 languages. That's only for the people who are really passionate about it, who made it part of their daily lives, who are willing to dedicate the time for it. But I do think that learning 1 or maybe 2 foreign languages can help you to see things from a wider perspective, to see the big picture, and and will also help you to make better decisions in life. Let me know, do you have this experience as well? Have you learned a foreign language? Or maybe you speak several foreign languages. Do you share this experience with me? Let me know in the comments below, and I would be happy to hear from you. Bye-bye.